So here's a truth we don't say out loud enough. You don't need a six-figure budget to create six-figure impact. Some of the strongest advocacy programs, the ones that actually move hearts, shift pipelines, and influence product direction, started with nothing more than probably an Excel sheet, a lot of goodwill, and a marketer who refused to wait for permission. So today, we are getting real. No vanity metrics, no glossy dashboards, just the grounded approach, a strategic path to building an advocacy engine with, let's say, $50,000 or less, and delivering results that feel like you had triple the budget. I am Aparna, your host to the Loyalty Talks podcast. In nearly 2 decades of my journey in understanding customer marketing, I'm the strategist who saw advocacy not as a tactic, but as a torch, loyalty as legacy, and customer voices as the loudest currency your brand will ever own. I've built programs that turn users into superfans, reviews into revenue, and just checking in emails into career-defining magic. I speak fluent G2, NPS whispers, referral triggers, and every version of can you share a customer for this slide. If you are in customer marketing or itching to break in, you've just found your people. So whether you're nurturing your first advocate or leading a global reference program, join me and my expert guests as we turn your marketing muscle into movement. No gatekeeping, no fancy jargon, just blueprints, battle scars, and breakthroughs. Let's build the kind of career they said was too niche until it wasn't. Pull up a seat. This is the Loyalty Talks podcast. There are people in our industry who talk about customer advocacy, and then there are people who live it, breathe it, build it, and shape its future. That's Christina Garnett, my guest for today. Now, Christina is an award-winning fractional chief customer officer and one of the most recognizable champions of customer-centric thinking today. And I do know she's also the author of an incredible book I plan on buying a copy for. I know Dave has read that. It's called Transforming Customer Brand Relationships, which has already become quite an essential reading, and for anyone actually who believes advocacy is more than a tactic, I think this is the go-to book because it's more or less like an engine. Christina, I'm so excited to dive into a conversation with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Okay, before we do the hypothetical situation of building an advocacy program, tell me, how is it that you stumbled upon advocacy?
So I am a multi-passionate, a polymath, whatever you want to call it. If you look at my career, it is quite vast. I've done a little bit of everything. I was an English major in college. I taught math for 5 years, got into marketing, did social media strategy, social listening, community, customer advocacy work. And the thing is that I've always really tied into brands that got it, that like were empathetic, were understanding, were not just customer centric as a tagline, but like lived and breathed it. And so I was a massive fan for HubSpot for years and was discovered and asked to join the team. And when they talked about what they wanted, it was very much like this fandom like meets community. And I was like, I'm sold. I'm in. I'm already a fangirl. Let's do it. And so a lot of what we wind up doing is in the advocacy space, ideally, is we treat the customers like humans again. And we start building these really authentic, thoughtful relationships. And so when I was able to announce that I joined the team, the first thing I did was I went on Twitter and LinkedIn and was like, if you are a fan of HubSpot, slide into my DMs. I want to talk to you. I want to do customer interviews.
Oh, lovely.
And so the first thing was like, and I would ask some questions, and it wasn't just like, what do you love about us? It was like, when was the last time you felt loved and returned? Because I know who you are. Like, I know you love us. When was the last time you felt that back? And so that not only tells you whether or not your current state is good, but people will tell you their love language. They'll tell you what love looks like to them, because for some people, it really is that Yeti or that like logo hoodie. But for other people, it's just like, I don't want any more swag. I'm
So true.
absolutely over swag. That's not love for me. Like, I need blank. And so for me, that was kind of my entry point into like official customer marketing, is probably the way to say it. Like, a lot of, if you look at my background, a lot of what I did for brands was like doing social listening, figuring out what customers wanted, figuring out how we can do messaging that really speaks to them. But when it comes to like officially being under the umbrella, it was that.
Wonderful. I've spoken about this, that a lot of advocates have this thing. Yes, they are motivated with a swag or a hoodie or a Yeti or a Stanley. But there are a lot of advocates, and I think if you have that kind of passion for someone who's not interested in the materialistic part of it, but genuinely is devoted to a brand and loves it, I think it's having like the best advocate. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Like, there is the best community builders and the best customer marketers. The one thing they all have in common is they have an intense emotional intelligence. They
Yeah.
all have emotional intelligence.
All right, let's quickly dig into building an advocacy program. And let's say if someone is starting from scratch and it's a company with, let's say, 2,000 accounts and has 4,500 customers, users, what's a realistic number of advocates to start with? And how do you actually identify the first batch?
Say anything more than 50.
Ooh,
You need to start with like a beta group. Yeah. I think everyone wants numbers really like quickly to
correct.
show, but you should start it as a pilot program. I would not go more than 50. What I would do is I would do a couple things. I would do internal search and external search. For external search, I would do social listening. So who are the people who are essentially already raising their hands or already talking about you? They're already saying great things. If you don't want to do the social listening or you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is a huge opportunity for you to talk to your social team, because they know who was raising their hands. They know who was talking about us. So this is, and one of the like main pillars of my book is that like great customer marketing is not done by one person. I don't care if it's me, I don't care if it's you, I don't care if it's anybody. We are building off of each other because we all touch the customer in different ways. And so if you are building an advocacy program, especially from scratch, instead of thinking about like how much money do I have and like what can I do, think about who can I collaborate with and like how vast can that collaboration really go. So you should be talking to the social media team. Who's already raising their hands? What does that look like? You should be talking to the CSMs. Who is
Absolutely.
always eager? Who has ideas? Who is like always happy or is happy to help or volunteer or whatever, because the CSMs have that intel too. Then you want to talk to sales. What are the biggest challenges that they're having? Or like when they're talking to prospective customers, who are like, what are the objections that they're seeing over and over again? Because that will help you figure out like who would be the best advocates to kind of meet that objection. Then you want to talk to marketing. What's the best content that's doing well? What is the stuff that tends to go viral versus not? What is the stuff that's kind of boring that no one really pays attention to? Then you want to talk to leadership. What are their goals for this? Because a lot of times they just want another attribution channel.
I know.
Like, advocacy is growth. Advocacy
And
is the
very
scale and
unrealistic-
growth and attribution and
unrealistic.
dashboards. Yes. Yes. And so you need to think about like, what do we actually want to do here? What is like, what is possible? Who can I work with? And then how can I identify? And then what you're going to do is you are going to hand select, VIP the crap out of this 50 or fewer people. And you were going to make them feel special. And you were going to but here's the thing. They're also guinea pigs.
Correct. Yeah.
They are a beta group. It is a pilot. So that's the thing is, you want to launch immediately. You want all the shiny things. You want all the awards. You have to start small and test. You need to figure out who are and let them know that they're a part of something. Like, we're launching this. This is the first group. There's going to be a lot of learnings with this.
So the feedback matters.
Like, please give us feedback. Please tell us what works for you. Please tell us and then from there you can start building, because what we tend to do, like the big temptation is I'm going to look for a tool. And this is like for community marketing and things. We think about tech stack instead of people stack.
And we are going to talk about that. Yes, you're right. Yes.
But that can't be your first move. Like, you should have, like, before you pick a tech stack, you should figure out who is in this, what can they do, what do they actually want to do, what does the value look like for them in return, and then what tech stack tools will not only integrate with your current tech stack, but will also make that, like, because the tool should not do the program, it should make the program have less friction.
Correct.
And
Right.
so
I like
if
that
you think
statement.
about it as a beta, as a pilot, and you ask these people questions and you have like VIPs and just slowly launching them, and then we
Yeah.
can have like this whole thing like that, that's what I would do. And here's the thing though, there's always a cost. There's
Yeah.
always a cost, but we tend to think cost in terms of budget instead of time. So
Hmm.
if you're like, Christina, I'd love to do this, but I have no budget, then you're looking at time.
Yeah.
Your cost is time then. Your cost is time, your cost is access, but there's always a cost. So if it's not money, it's going to be something else.
Oh, I love that. Actually, I think at times we tend to forget that advocates aren't recruited, they're revealed. So as we get into it, dip our toes into those water, and we get to know. While you were saying 50, and I was like, 4,500 customers you have, and you go with 50. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And I'm very fond of coming up with absolutely random analogies. So bear with me on that. But
Yeah.
I just thought mom taught me baking, okay? And bread was something that we used to bake very often. And I still remember when I told her that, oh, we'll put yeast. And, I just got a whole bunch of that packet. And she was like, you're not supposed to add a bucket. You're supposed to add a teaspoon. And I think advocacy tends to be the same. You don't
Yes.
want the whole horde of your
No.
customers becoming your advocates, which isn't really realistic either. It's, I
Yeah.
think, have a few, let
Yes.
their energy ferment into something that's
Yes.
gonna rise.
Oh yeah. And I've written about this quite a few times. The problem with all of these different programs and initiatives is that we want them all to scale.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The thing is that advocacy doesn't scale, it compounds.
Hmm.
So you could have 50 diehard people who would ride or die and take a bullet for your brand, and that
Yeah.
will actually do more and create more ripples and more
Rather than
revenue and
having,
better retention than having all of them.
yeah.
I
So
would
true.
rather have an army of diehards and it's like 50 deep than to have 3,000 and they just don't really care. And that's a lesson that we have to keep. Like, we have to keep beating that drum to leadership, because leadership wants this big number in a deck. Like,
Absolutely.
you're working your butt off, but it will
Yeah.
be consolidated into one slide in a leadership deck. And it's like, look at how many advocates we have. And it's like, no. How much passion have we created? How much love have we created? How much brand
Correct.
affinity? Like, and then we can talk about attribution and everything else. But at the same time, it cannot scale. It does not scale. It compounds. And
I
so,
think
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, but I think when your leadership is leaning towards more of the sales angle and less of the emotional marketing front, they tend to push and think quantity is better quality.
Yes. And it's not. It's not. It's absolutely not. No.
But tell me something. Now we've
Yeah.
identified our initial advocates, right? So we know who to approach, where to look for them, and, collaborate on finding them. What's the first activity you'd launch to test their level of engagement without spending or overspending, let's say? Yeah.
I'd have a meeting. I'd have a coffee chat. I'd have something where we can all get together. We can all get in the same room. We can talk. We can vent. We can love each other. We
Oh,
can
yeah.
hype each other up. We can do all the things, because that will make it more human. And especially as we've added more and more AI into our work,
Yeah.
you
So
want
trust.
to, you need to build trust, but you need to
Yeah.
build the human. So the thing is that like really great communities have relationships between their community managers and their members. Really great advocacy programs, whoever's leading the program and that's their person. And it's not just like point of contact. It's so much more than that. And so having that level set, having that like onboarding call, but it's not like, here's what you do and I'm going to answer your questions. It's this needs to feel VIP. This needs to feel special. You were here for a reason. You were here because you were hand selected. And here's the things that we want to do. And then here's the things that we'd love to work with you on that's on our side. And then here in return is what we're going to do for you. And so really kind of having that, like, it goes back to treating people like humans and having these real relationships. A lot of brands want brand love, but they're not doing anything to foster a relationship. Like, they're not doing anything to get the love. They think that if they have enough followers, or if they have enough this, or if they send out a couple swag boxes, that they have love. And it's just like, that is not how humans operate. That's not how love operates. And so you
You're
need to
buying
get closer.
affection.
That's honestly what it is it's transactional. And they're like, why are they why are they going with a competitor who got them a bigger surprise and delight gift than me? Or look, I gave them a lower price. And I was like, because you taught them that's what the relationship was. You taught them it was transactional, and then they acted transactionally as well. And then you got mad that you were doing the same thing. It's weird.
Yeah. So the goal is, before you ask them to go ahead and amplify you, and I think you need to just sit back and elevate them as well. Because not many are doing that, actually.
No, not many are. It really comes down to, so like I'm obsessed, and Dave knows this because he's obsessed with it too now, is I'm obsessed with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so in the book, I created my very own version, but specifically for like taking care of customers and elevating them, and what does that look like? And the thing is that if you look up the pyramid, if you look up the way that the hierarchy works, basically most brands will get to the middle layer, which is where belonging and community is, and they stop. And then they pat themselves on the back and they act like they act like they created community. But the problem is that like where the differentiation is above that. It's the self-actualization. There's something that I like to say is like a good community will help you, but a great community will transform you.
Oh, yeah.
What is it about being an advocate for this brand that is going to get you opportunities, that is going to get you things that are going to change your life, that is going to open doors that would have never opened before?
Yeah.
And if you can't answer that question, then you're not doing anything special for these people. And so you should not expect them to treat it like it's special, because it's not. And so you really need to be thinking about, and that's also the stuff that doesn't take a lot of money. Like the self-actualization stuff, that's not money. That's like when I was at HubSpot, I would regularly champion people, be like, we should have them in a HubSpot Academy video. We should have them speak at Inbound. We should have them be quoted in a blog. Like these are things that open doors for them. These are things that if they want to be a thought leader, which it feels like everyone wants to be a thought leader nowadays.
Everyone wants to, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. That's a great carrot then. How do we do that? So like, what are you doing to elevate your customers so that like, if that's a power user and you have customer education as a part of your brand, they should be featured in your customer education, period, and point blank. If you have content and you are looking for quotes, you're looking for experts, that is an opportunity for you to highlight them.
Yes.
If you have conferences or webinars, that is an like there is so many opportunities for you to treat your customers like influencers. Right. And that's like the one thing, like if there was like, Christina, I need to build an advocacy program, give me one line: treat your customers like influencers. Because you automatically know what I mean. Like you automatically know like what I'm talking about. But I don't see a lot of brands doing that. It drives me up. Like it's the best CX I've ever seen happen. It's the best, the easiest way to like, what's the one line of like tip to make everything better for your customers? Treat them like they're influencers, because they are.
Because they are. Yeah.
They are, even if you're not tracking it, even if you're not like paying attention. They're having calls, and they're talking to their friends, and they're in closed communities, they're in group chats, and they're talking with their peers, and their peers are saying like, hey, you use so-and-so. Do you like them? Should we like, we're looking. There's so many decisions that are being made, and these are opportunities for you to not only take care of customers, which is going to make them harder to leave. So now your retention numbers are going to look better. But then on top of that, they're going to drive advocacy, and they're going to drive net new revenue to you, whether you ask them to or not. And and it's going to mean something to them, and people are going to trust them over your new ad, because of course you as the brand are going to say how great you are. Of course you are. No one's going to believe that. They're going to believe this person, especially someone if they know them. They're going to believe that person instead. And so that's priceless. So start treating them like influencers. Start taking care of them. What can you do to elevate them, to amplify them, to make them like you want them to feel special? Treat them like they're special. And that's another reason why to do 50, you can always build. You could do like, we're going to start with 50, and then every quarter we're going to invite new people, and we're going to slowly, sustainably grow this program. That's a great way to do it. But if you have like 4,000 people in a room and you're like, you're all special, and like, there's no way I'm special. There's too many people in here. There's like, what do you mean? You got to start small. Start small, start special, and then you can slowly build, and you can build sustainably too. And you're not burning out your advocacy managers, because no one needs to be trying to like soft launch a 1,000-person community. Like nobody needs to be doing that.
You're right. I love that. It's a very grounding approach.
Yes.
Okay, so we did stumble on this information where technology, should we jump into it right away? So I would tweak this question a little now that I know that you shouldn't jump in it.
You should absolutely not.
Tell me something, as per you, imagining that you have this $50,000 budget, right? What all can you do manually and should kind of stick to doing manually? And what would be just that one element of technology that you think is definitely something worth exploring in the first 6 to 8 months?
So it depends on what the goals are of your advocacy program. Depending on like what the brand is, what it does, what does that look like, your advocacy could look quite different. So on one hand, it could be like you're a CPG brand and you want advocacy, and that advocacy looks like UGC, and you want user-generated content. I
Right.
want you to make TikToks for us. Okay, great. If you're a SaaS company, it might be referrals that you need, like actual customer stories and referrals that they can send to sales, and no one else is going to see it except the decision makers that they're talking to and their prospects. So that's fine. So you need to have a very clear understanding of, depending on who you are, what do you want these people to do for you, and what does that look like? And is it more internal influence or is it more external influence? Or is it both? In a lot of cases, it's both, but you need to know what that looks like. And then figuring out how that, and this is the thing that I've talked about quite significantly, is advocacy is great. I'm obviously a massive fan of customer advocacy and fandom and community and all of these things. The problem is that it has a ceiling if it does not collaborate with other departments. So for example, something you could do manually is I would talk to your product team and be like, is there a way that I could have someone from your team talk to our group once a quarter? Maybe you're talking about the roadmap. Maybe you're asking specific questions about a feature that got launched or whatever. But is there something we can set up a regular cadence so that my people can talk to product? It can be like a closed session, a Zoom call, whatever it is. And you get feedback that you can then like harness and then do whatever you need with. They also get to be a part of it. Maybe they give you ideas. Like that's something you don't need a tech stack for. Like you don't need a tech stack for. You're fine. It also depends on your CRM. So there's so much data. There's so much customer data in CRMs. And depending on what your tech stack looks like, you may or may not have the field mapping done correctly in order to make sure that that data is actually like telling you a story. It's just like everything's in the CRM, like cool, but I can't, where's the story?
It's all scattered.
It's all scattered. It's all siloed. Yes, it's all siloed. Nothing's ever talking to each other. So I would say first you need to also get your data in line, because the worst thing you can do is add a shiny new tech stack and have it integrated into like your entire program, but you don't know how the current tech stack works. So depending on what your CRM is, how is it currently being used? What fields are being mapped? Is there any kind of data in there that is currently being tracked that could be useful as an advocacy lead? Or is there data that is not currently being tracked, but it absolutely could? What does that look like? And do you have a current tech stack? So like Amplitude. If you're looking for advocates, and I want specifically for this, I don't want influencers. I want power users. Amplitude is your best friend. I'm going to go in and I'm going to see, all right, who are the top users of this specific product for this time period? And that's that going back to like, how do you pick people? Because a lot of power users get overlooked. They're the resident subject matter expert, but because they're not like the decision maker, they get left out of conversations. But those people want to be advocates. Those people want to be seen. Those people want to be told how smart they are because they are smart. Amplitude. Do you have Amplitude mixed in and integrated with your CRM to track that as a signal to be like, this is someone who is like a top power user for, let's say you have like different features within your SaaS. This person is a power user for this. Okay, great. Is that being tracked? And then depending on what it looks like, what do you want the tool to do? Because a lot of times what the tool is actually doing is it's doing automation.
Correct. Most of the time.
Yeah. So is that something that could already is that something that could be built in Zap? Is that something that needs to be a tool, or is that something else? Because that's why it's so helpful. There's so many diagnostics that you have to do in order to figure out what tech stack is right for you. And that's why I see so many different programs. They'll be on it for 1 to 2 years and then they have to migrate and then they have to relaunch their program.
Correct.
And I was like, if you had just been very thoughtful about what you needed this to do and how it was going to work with everything, then you would not have to migrate. You would just be able to do what you needed to do. So I would say the tech stack is probably one of the last things that you should do. Not the first. It should be one of the last.
I think, doing a lot of your manual work, it does give you a lot of clarity on what to go in for. Because where I come from, I have done, initially launched an advocacy program on an Excel sheet and managed it pretty well, because I too started with about 28 and then gradually went up to about 50, then 60 odd customers who were advocates, sorry. And it gave me a lot of perspective on whether or not a technology was worth it, because I did have that comparison that, I'll be able to do it in these many minutes or these many hours. This is manageable.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we've spoken about tech, but let's say if technology is the way to go early for a large sized company, what are the one or two vendors you've seen? And you've spoken of Amplitude, but yeah, what are the one or two vendors you've seen would work well for a small or an early stage advocacy, even if it's, let's say.
So it goes back to, what do you want it to do? So I do need to disclose I am on the advisory board for SLAP 5. And one of the things that I do like about SLAP 5 is it's very much about removing silos.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how are we able to plug this into multiple data centers to be able to pull everything together to figure out who are the best advocates? What does this look like? All those things. Another tool that I really like is Common Room, especially if you're doing like community listening. I think Common Room is a fantastic tool for that, especially if you're identifying that. I do like Champion. Champion is fantastic. It really breaks down, like, it goes to the heart of like, what do we actually need to do to take care of people? So I really like Champion. I'm very excited about Trusted, which is another
I am
tool.
too.
I'm very excited about Trusted. And so I love the tools that are not just like, here's gamification, or here is, like, here is this automation tech stack. Like, I like the stuff that shows, you can tell that it's done by somebody who understands CX. That tends to be what I really like. So I got to go with those.
Wonderful. Okay. So let's just look at the advocate perspective. So what type of advocacy activities, in your opinion, deliver the most value to an advocacy program, which is like, and I'm going to keep repeating, under 50,000 budget, but
it really is. So I find that, like, everyone has their own love language. Everyone has their own carrots and motivations. But I find that from a budget perspective, the two that tend to be the best is access and thought leadership. So, for example, I could send swag boxes and that would be great. And especially like end of the year as like a thank you. Like, I love that stuff. However, I have lost count of how many people would literally like get in a bar fight if they could talk to the C-suite. They would do anything. If I gave them a handwritten letter at the end of the year and thanked them and said, like, would love to get you in front of our head of product, or would love to have you talk to the CEO, how much would that cost me? Like $1, $2 for the card?
Correct.
And that's it. And so, like, it's access for me. Like, access, I think, is like top tier, because like any brand can give you like a box of goodies. Any brand can like do all these cool things. How many brands will put you in front of your C-suite? How many brands will be like, you get to be the voice of the customer and you get to go straight to the target. You get to go straight to who you want to listen to. That's incredibly priceless. And getting back to tech stack and optimization, in a world where everything is about time efficiency, someone giving you time is so priceless. Like, I can't think of a better compliment than to say, I'm incredibly busy. I'm going to make time for you. That's priceless. That's very, like, that says, I see you, I hear you, I care about you, I appreciate, like, that says it, and not in a email, like, template kind of way, but in a like legitimate way. And then the other is thought leadership. We are in an incredibly tough market right now. And so because of all of these shifts in the job market, there's a lot of people struggling. It's incredibly hard to find work. And so everyone is having to build their personal brand. You are employed, you're building your personal brand. You are unemployed, you're building your personal brand. And so giving an outlet to amplify people, to show off how brilliant they are and to show off their work and to be a thought leader, whether they are unemployed or not, is incredibly important.
It definitely matters. Yeah.
It absolutely matters. And to be the brand that opens those doors for you, like, that's an opportunity for you to say, like, how did you, so I can give you a dashboard of like, here's all the money I brought in, but I can also tell you, like, I can name 20 people who have gotten a job because of me. Like, I can name, like, I can honestly say I have changed people's lives. And I know Allison, like we talked about, Allison, our dear friend who I adore to pieces. She can say the same thing. Like, I know that we have changed people in a way that, like, a hoodie isn't going to change people. Like, it's not going to change people. And so that's what it really comes down to is, are you transforming people's lives? How are you elevating them? How are you giving them chances? How are you offering them something that literally no one else can give them? It's that, and that takes no money. It takes something that's significantly more priceless, and it's care. Yeah. It's care. It's emotional intelligence. It's actually wanting that person to be successful. And that's not something that's not tech stack can give you. That's not something, like, you can't train that even. Yeah. Like, you either have emotional intelligence, you either care about people, or you don't.
You, and then you Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you can't help it. Like you're compelled. Like you're compelled to talk to people
Correct.
and help them. Yeah.
Yeah. But tell me something. Now we've spoken about the activities we can go ahead with, but there does come a time where you wonder that, okay, should I go ahead and introduce certain kind of rewards? And
Mhm.
how do I determine that, okay, this much is appropriate to start with?
Yeah. And that always goes back to the person. That goes back to your customer interviews. So like when I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
I would do these customer interviews and was like, when was the last time that you felt loved by us?
Right.
And then I would mark what that looks like. And so one of the things that I think is really nice, and one of the things that I did when like for end of year gifts at HubSpot is I would like, we do end of year gifts, but like
Yeah.
maybe one or two of them are branded, but the rest of them are not. Like, here's a really
Mm.
lovely blanket. Here's a candle. Here's something to like make you feel warm. If I like, my thing is if I'm giving you a box, it needs, the whole goal of that box is to make you feel warm and fuzzy. If it does not make you feel warm and fuzzy, I did not pass the test.
Correct.
That is the litmus test. And so there's so many places to like get brand, to get swag, to get all this other stuff. I say a lot too, like, when was the last time you emailed somebody without a CTA? When was the last time you gave something that didn't have your
I
logo on it?
Correct. So true. You know
Because it
what?
feels kind of self-serving. It's like, please wear us and be a billboard, instead of, I just wanted to give you this really nice candle and like celebrate the holidays. You know, like
Just,
it's very different vibe.
I think a week, 10 days ago, just I was arranging the year-end gifting and things like that. And I had gone into the depths of Reach Desk to find the most perfect one. And for some of our Australian advocates, what I did was I sent them a whole kit with different assorted chocolates and
Yeah.
a couple of drinks, but then it had paint with numbers.
Oh, I love that.
It had a whole Thanksgiving table kind of an image, and you go ahead and
Yeah.
paint. And so that's the theme it sets. So it's like a
Yeah.
huge package which says that you sip on your drink, have these nuts and these chocolates and stuff,
Yeah.
and keep painting.
I love that. But you know what though? That's a deeply human gift.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It can't be like, here's our logo, please wear it.
Oh,
It's,
I know. Yeah.
here's something. This'll be like it's been a rough year. Like, have some fun, paint
Take some time
this.
off. Yeah.
Yes, I think that that's really, I think that as brands, we've kind of like over operationalized everything to the point where we
True.
treat these advocates like numbers, but
Commodities.
we don't want them to behave like numbers. We want them to we want to inspire them to be their most loving and their most human with us, but we don't treat
Yeah.
them that way. And so I love the brands, like best case, like Chewy is always going to be the perfect example for me. Like I
Mm.
adore Chewy. I am probably Chewy's biggest advocate. Like I am like, anytime like who's doing it well, it's like, it is always Chewy. You already know what I'm going to say. But they are doing things that don't scale. They're doing things that compound. They're sending flowers whenever you lose a pet. They
Yes.
are
Yeah.
sending these really beautiful
The
paintings of
sweetest
their
thing.
animals.
Yeah.
Those customers are going to keep that for the rest of their life. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't give them a big Chewy hat. You gave them a picture of their
Yeah.
beloved animal
Yeah.
because you know that that's what matters. And now you have something that represents your brand in the loveliest way, and it's tied to something that they absolutely
cried.
adore. You know what
I
I'm saying,
cried
though?
when I heard this story.
And they do it over and over and over again, but it's because but Chewy absolutely gets that this work doesn't scale, it compounds.
Yeah.
And I see Chewy go viral all the time for the best. Like, how many brands do you know go viral repeatedly for being
Correct.
good? Nobody. It's just Chewy. It's just Chewy. And it's because they get it. It's because if we are compassionate and treat them like humans, then we will create a human bond with them. And these are going to be advocates and customers for life. And that's exactly, like, it is the ultimate case study. And like, but Christina, you can't do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Chewy does it all the time.
Yeah. No, that's so true. Because even when I was selecting the gift, I didn't have that in mind that, I want something from you next week. So here you go, take this gift. I think just to have that kind of thought that, yes, I appreciate you, and you don't have to have an ulterior motive always.
Yes.
I think it does take you a long way. Yeah.
The other thing I would add too is, and the thing that kind of broke my heart a little bit whenever I was in advocacy, is you will have customers who will get, and we're seeing this now, they'll get laid off. And because they're no longer with that company, they're technically no longer your advocate. And they feel like you're just going to let them go. And it's like, absolutely not. That's not how I work. That's not how I operate. Like, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you can't do stuff for us, I totally understand. But please let me know if I can help you at all. Please let me, like they might have divorced you. I didn't divorce you. Like, we're good. Like, we're fine. I think that that's something too. Like, the psychological safety of saying, like, your job is not why I care about you. We will find other ways to work together. It may not be in this capacity, maybe it's in something else, but I don't like, this is not goodbye because you lost your job. Like, I'm not going to be the person who's like, oh my God, I love you. And then in your time of need, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I can't use you anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
We are not doing that. We are
It's-
absolutely not doing that.
It's just sad. We had to take that call and advocate, and that person had a lot of points. And we also knew her redemption pattern, wherein she was only taking Starbucks for her weekly Starbucks and things like that. And we took that call that, okay, we'll go ahead and keep sharing your Starbucks gift cards, redeeming it from your end, because we had to lock the account. But we said that we'll do it. And if at all you want all your points to be given to you at once so that you never have to worry about it, you let us know. And she opted in for taking the entire amount for Starbucks. And we added a couple more to round off that entire thing, because she's been such an amazing advocate. I didn't have the heart to tell her that I need to lock your account, because some people just have that effect on not just being a customer, but being your biggest fan.
Yeah. Well, that's also an opportunity for you to reach a new ICP, where it's like, what if you created a group for unemployed power users?
Yeah.
They still want to be associated with your brand. They still
Oh,
want
I
to
like
learn.
this
They
idea.
still want, yeah, that's a huge
I like
opportunity. They can still work with you. Now, they're not necessarily going to be able to do the same customer stories.
Correct.
But they could do other things.
Still, word of mouth, they have been a user, and someone who's taken all your certifications, training, is a great asset anyways.
Yeah. And that would be a great opportunity for you to have, like, because like this year has been like catastrophically bad for layoffs. And so there's so many people who are probably power users in your advocacy group, or just in your community in general, who would love to be able to have a peer group who's like struggling the same way.
Yeah.
That's a great opportunity to be like, let's put all of our unemployed power users in one room, and like, maybe we share resources, maybe we share opportunities. They can still give feedback. Maybe they can't do a referral, or they can't do a customer story, but there's other things they could do, and that's going to keep thought leadership for them. That's going to keep access for them. And it shows that you are not really transactional. It shows that even though you can't help us in this way, we still want you in our orbit. We still want you in our world. How can we work together in this new way?
I love this idea, because in our case, you could even do referrals as a prospect. Like, you don't need to be a customer to refer someone. An ideal opportunity to involve those diehard fans and advocates. Yeah, that's wonderful. I think I have noted that down. I will take that ahead.
Yeah. I wish more brands would do that. I think that there's a huge opportunity for you to, because I find that like, it's very easy to be an advocate when like things are going great. It's very hard when things are going badly, because those people now have like, they're worried, they're stressed, but they also have like, if you ever get laid off, you are going to have an ego hit. And so if you want, it's very like Chewy is showing up with compassion when they need it most. Brands who show up for their advocates when they need compassion the most, that's going to be when you like actually have a relationship.
Correct.
When it's like, we literally have nothing to gain from you right now,
but we're still there.
But we still want to be with you. We are still here. I think that that's really important. And then that's how you transform people's lives. Maybe because of that group, they're sharing job opportunities with each other, and one of them gets hired. Just, there's so many ways that we can impact each other in a positive way. And so I would love to see more, like, and if you're listening, please steal this idea. Like, please steal this idea and be there for your advocates. Like, take care of them. Like, please, please, please.
I love it.
It's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, tell me something.
No, you're fine. That's your CTA for me. I got it. What do you need?
When it comes to content and storytelling, right?
Yeah.
What's the best way to collect your testimonials, or even a reference hand raiser that, okay, get on a call for potential customers without overwhelming them? Because there are times I feel we tend to overuse them.
Oh, yeah. No, we absolutely do. You need a way to track it. And so that could be a great way for like a tool. Like, if you want to be like, Christina, you can't be anti-tech. I'm not anti-tech. I am anti-overusing tech.
Yeah.
That could be a huge opportunity for you to like determine frequency and to say like, hey, I want to send an email to people for this opportunity, but I don't want to send it to anyone who's done this in the past 2 months. That's a great opportunity for tech. That's a huge opportunity for tech to come in there and help signal like, this person's great, but they've already been like, we've been hitting them all week long. Like,
Correct.
please don't hit them anymore. I think that's a great opportunity for tech. And there are definitely tech stack that does that, like Champion and Trusted, I believe both.
Yeah. Even base.ai captures the consent. Let's say I build an ask and I
Yeah.
say that, okay, send it to 500 customers or advocates of mine. And it pops up, says that these 25 people did it in the last 6 months. Let's not do that now. Yeah.
Yeah. You need something on frequency. And you can also do that in Excel sheet. That's very tedious,
Correct.
but you absolutely can. Or you can put it as if there's a way to like track it in your CRM so that you can basically say like, this person has done like a customer story in the last 3 months, or this person's done whatever. And depending on how you've built out your field mapping and like how you're doing that. So I would do that. The other thing is I'm very much pick your own adventure. So there are things that I like to kind of like give to the group versus like hand deliver. And so I tend to like we had our we had like gamification, and then we also had community. And so in the community group, I would say like, here's all of our opportunities. Here's all the things that we can do. What does this look like? And one of the things I did was I created these things called civilian kits, which was anytime, like every month we would have a new feature or update or a big campaign or whatever. And I would create a civilian kit. And the civilian kit was basically everything they needed to know. Like, here's the link. Here's this. Here's the keywords. I never used canned copy because I absolutely hate canned copy. Like, it drives me crazy. But I would say like, here's some messaging examples, or here's the kind of keywords that we're going for. Here's what it does and does not do. So like, to be clear. And then like, here's any images that you might want to use. And then it's very much, it's an opportunity. You don't have to do it. But if you do want to do it, I've removed every piece of friction. There's like, you're not going to have any questions because here's every single thing you could ever need.
Oh, wonderful.
And I find that that's really helpful. But I like to, you have to turn the way that you do messaging for advocacy is incredibly important, because if you do it badly, you are just literally knocking on them, asking for a favor every single day of their life. It cannot be a favor. It has to be an opportunity, and you have to make it very clear why it's an opportunity. So like, why is this important? Why are they the only ones that get to do it? What's in it for them? Like, at the end of the day, every time you ask them something, it should be very, like, if the next question is what's in it for me, you should be able to break that down really quickly. Like, it should be it should almost be unspoken in everything that you do, because otherwise advocacy is very much like you're putting fish in a barrel and then you just shoot at them, like whenever you need something. And that is the opposite of what advocacy should be, but that is what advocacy is for a lot of brands.
You're so right. The key would be like making small asks with a lot of heart, to a lot of intent, and explaining why those particular people are chosen. And also, I think Dave and I discussed this. It's all right if someone says no. And, respect the fact that, okay, yes, your advocates do get burned out. And,
they're absolutely going to.
So, yeah. Also, what are the biggest mistakes you see that advocacy leaders make when they're launching with limited resources?
They're doing everything as a means to an end. And so when things don't happen fast enough, they start kind of breaking their own rules to get people to do things. And so I find that like even the best advocacy managers can kind of lose their way if the pressure from leadership is so high that like, well, this isn't happening fast enough. We're not getting enough impact, or we're not doing this. And so you can't lose sight of what you're like, the purpose of all of this. And I'm a firm believer that if you take care of people, the metrics will follow. The problem is that the metrics might follow a little bit slower than you would like, but they're going to come. Yeah. And they're going to come. And so what I would do is finding out like basically also the way that the advocacy programs mature. It's very similar to community. The way, because I've had people be like, well, what should my KPIs be? And I was like, it depends on the maturity of the program. Because if you just launched, the KPIs are going to be vanity metrics. It's going to be how many people joined, how many people showed up for the first meeting. By nature, it has to be the vanity metrics, because they're not vanity metrics in that time. They're the only signals you really have. However, as you grow, the number of advocates is irrelevant.
Correct.
It turns into what is the actual impact. So it really comes down to, you need to have a very thoughtful understanding of where you are in the life cycle of your program and what does that look like. So are we in a foundational place? Are we in a participation place? Or are we in an impact place? And you need to know where you are and know that like it's going to adapt as more people get involved, as more opportunities happen, but you cannot get lost in the numbers. If you start chasing metrics, then you will start treating these people like numbers because you need them to be numbers in the end. It is the biggest temptation. It's why I said start small, because the thing too is that like you kind of go out guns blazing and then it's not sustainable.
Absolutely. Like, you know that money is tight. You have a smaller budget. Every misstep is going to cost you.
Oh,
Whether
yeah,
like it or not.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I would start small, be thoughtful, be sustainable, and you have to stay as close to these people as humanly possible. And you have to be able to speak their language in a way that makes sense to them. So, for example, like, I hate to bring it up, but like, there was violence in Bondi in Australia. If you have customers that are in that area and they are like radio silent for the next couple weeks, that's not a you problem. They are coping, they are dealing. So there are variables, and a lot of brands, they're like, oh, we didn't get this right, or we needed to A/B test this. And I was like, no, you forgot that your advocates do not, like, they don't orbit you. They love you to pieces, but they have their own lives, their own problems. There's things happening. There's variables that are happening in their life that you have absolutely no control over, have nothing to do with, but they directly impact your customer, and therefore they directly impact how that customer works with you. And so that goes back to emotional intelligence. You should be looking and seeing, like, are there any major good or bad things that are happening around your customers? So like, if you have, like, for example, if someone in your community wins an award, I don't care if it has anything to do with you. You were saying congratulations. You were saying thank you. It goes back to those relationships. It's showing up and saying, hey, I don't know if you're directly impacted by this, but I saw the news and it made me think of you. I just wanted to check in and make sure you're okay. No CTA, no sign up for this. I just wanted to check in on you. It's that stuff. It's that stuff.
That's that human bond you go ahead and create as a community or an advocacy manager, because most of the times it's not expected out of anyone else. But when you say that you're a community, you're like a family or close knit, you need to behave like that as well.
Yeah, you need to. And you need to show, like, it's the friend that shows up when it's like, hey, you've been radio silent for a couple weeks. I just wanted to check on you. Or, hey, I saw this and I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Instead of being the friend who shows up whenever they want something. Because that's what most brands are. It's like, we're best friends. I'm only going to show up for you when there's a sale. I'm only going to show up when I need you to sign up for something. Like, I hate when it's like, you're personally invited. I was like, oh, cool, I'm personally invited. And it was like, here's a conference, pay $500. And I was like, you didn't personally invite me to anything. What do you mean I'm personally invited? It's that stuff. It's a lot of brands want to be friends, but they are the friend that is a user. They are the friend that always asks for favors, instead of, I'm going to be the friend that shows up when you're crying, but you are hiding it really well, or you've been quiet for a while. Like, that's one of the signals I wish more communities actually looked at. It was like the dormant status, and not from a place of like, we missed you, we'd love to have you back, but like actually doing a DM and being like, hey, I've noticed you haven't been around for a while. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And you don't need comms for that. You don't need a fancy template.
Absolutely.
You just need, I noticed this and I was worried about you. Like, that's it. And it means the world to people.
I think it's a very small company kind of a thing where a lot of times you see that, okay, you visit a restaurant very often and they know your order by heart. It's as little as that.
Yes. But it makes you feel seen.
Absolutely.
There's brands love to be on social. We heard you. No, you didn't. No. We see you. No, you don't. Like, no, you don't. But if you remember me, or you noticed something, or you just checked in, or like, that's the other thing too. Like, you should be following your advocates on LinkedIn. That's another thing that my advocates like always made a comment about, is even when they weren't posting about HubSpot, if they posted about something that I was like, this absolutely needs more eyes on it, I would repost it. So I was amplifying them even when it had nothing to do with us, because I was celebrating them. If you have advocates, you should all be following them on LinkedIn. You should be engaging with their content, even if it's not specifically for you. You should be showing up like that. There's a phrase I say, like, be a fan of the fans. You need to be a fan of the fans, because otherwise you are just this woman who just like shows up in their inbox whenever you need them to do something. You have to show up for them first.
Lovely. We are more or less at the end of the podcast, but
no worries. This was lovely. Thank you for having me.
This would be interesting. Do you have an example in mind where, let's say, a lean program delivered outsized value in, be it value of advocacy love or ROI?
I would say nonprofits. Nonprofits have to do this all the time, and they do it because of shared values. They do it because of shared mission. Very few of them have like a lot of tech. Very few of them have a lot of things, but they run specifically because of advocacy. They run specifically because they have very passionate supporters. Any nonprofit that's able to last more than like 1 or 2 years has to nail it. So I would say if there's any nonprofits around you that you think do really good work, they're the kind of the poster child for what that looks like. They are definitely walking case studies because so many of them, they run on volunteers. They run on social media content that they didn't create. They run on word of mouth. Like, it's nonprofits. And the reason they do that is because the people who support them have a shared value system.
Correct.
They believe in the mission. And then the nonprofit has to follow through with that mission. Like, they have to do what they said they were going to do. They have to make the impact that they want, or they are clearly working towards creating that impact. So it's nonprofits. Nonprofits don't get nearly enough love when it comes to like the community work they do, the advocacy work they do. Like, that's what, like, great nonprofits, that's what it is. It's advocacy and community work.
So yeah, no fancy detours and just pure love driving the engine.
Honestly, yeah. When it comes down to it, yeah.
So final question, and I love asking this question because I get very thrilled listening to advice that you've received, and be it the good one, be it the bad one, it's definitely a lesson. But yes, tell me, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? And the worst?
The worst piece of advice is that gamification will solve everything. Gamification will not solve everything. It will not fix your advocacy program. It will not make people care. It will not. Gamification is low-hanging fruit. It can absolutely work for some people, but not for everybody. And it has its threshold.
And now that kind of gamification that Influitive had given all of us, I think it's dead.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I don't like gamification. I think it can be used well, but it on its own, it is not going to solve anything. It's not going to fix your problem. It also doesn't work for some people even at all. Best piece of advice for me, I have been the canary in the coal mine, or the canary in the brand mine, as I call it, quite a lot, because I am the person in the room that sees things and, like, no one else wants to say it, I'll say it. There's been people who have loved me for my emotionality. There have been people who absolutely hated me for my emotionality. I've been on calls where I've cried over customers, and I've been told this is why you can't be in leadership. I've been told everything. The thing is that this is actually the best advice I ever got was from one of my advocates. And it was, we became friends, we talked, all the things. And I told them about like how much I love the program, but eventually I'm going to have to walk away because like this can't be my entire personality. And they basically said, like, just wherever you go, don't let go of this. Like, don't sacrifice this part of you for leadership. Because the thing is that there's a lot of things you have to give up for leadership. There's a lot, like, you can't be hands deep anymore. You can't be in the trenches as much. You can't do all these things. Yeah. And they really said, it's like, we know you're going to do great things, but like, please protect this part of you that wants to be in the trenches. Like, protect the part of you that cares about people, because people are going to love and hate you for it, but it is what makes you special. It is what separates you. And like, then I wrote a whole book on it. But that really is it, is there's going to be people who are going to want you to fit in a box, who are going to want to change you and be like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Please stop talking about it. And I'm like, no, it's important. And so a lot of times the things that people will love and hate you for, you want to think of it as a weakness, and people will absolutely frame it as a weakness for you, especially in terms of your career. It is not, it is your superpower. Like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I care too much, and like, no, that is actually your superpower. That's why it works. It's not your tech stack. There is not a single tech tool that is more important than someone on the team actually caring about people. Ever. Quote me. Like, it's not. So say if that is a part of you and you're like, I feel like I have to let that go and be a bit more stoic in meetings and like do all this stuff.
Yes.
But that's your superpower. That's why the work is good. It's not because you're tech stack. It's because of you. Like, you are the differentiator. You are why it works. You are the why people care. You are why people come back when they don't want to do anything, but they want to show up for you. That's what it is. That's your superpower. So protect that part of you.
Wonderful. I think, whenever I hear these best advisors and the worst advisors, I always feel that, yes, the best ones actually give us permission to rise.
Yes.
We learn from those best advisors, and worst advisors too. It's something, you know what you need to leave behind. So that's another asset to growing up.
Yep. Very true.
Christina, I'm so glad we've done this. I know
Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
we've interacted for the first time, but with so much of depth and generosity you've shared with every response of yours, I think I'm glad. Like, it's a reminder that advocacy isn't really built on money. It's built on meaning.
Yes.
And that's what I've picked up from that. Okay, you need to nurture intentionally
You do.
and choose progress over perfection.
It'll never be but here's the thing too, though, and this is like my best advice for everybody, is you have to let go of perfection, because advocacy work is dealing with humans, and humans are messy.
Yeah.
Humans are messy. There's nothing perfect about us. We are messy. We are messy and temperamental and emotional and all these things, but that's why it works. Why it works. So you have to let go of the perfection and come with like clear intent.
Yeah, the willingness to start
Yes.
somewhere.
Yeah, start small, think thoughtfully, but also like be empathetic. Like, would I want to be in this program? Would you want to be in the program that you're building? Because if you wouldn't, you need to tweak some things. You need to fix some stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
If you found today's tea piping hot, don't forget to stir the pot. Share it, rate it, and bring a friend to the table. Until next time, keep turning loyalty into leverage with me, Aparna, and the Loyalty Talks podcast.